Hi everyone, I'm Sylvia Morrison, founder, director of Links Across Borders, and I'm the author of two best-selling books, Life in a Ghanaian Village and Grace's Lunch. And I am excited to be here with Tammy Stuhr today as she launches her second edition of Jax Dreams of Heaven. Hello, Tammy. It's so
Hello,
good to see you.
Sylvia. It is such a pleasure to be here with you. Thank you so much for celebrating my launch day with me.
I'm excited. I'm probably as excited as you are about this new book. It is Jax Dream of Heaven.
It's here,
Yes,
ready to
yes.
stand on the shelf. This this is exciting to have a book that I know has impacted the world and will continue to.
I'm over here feeling it as if I wish I had my copy here with me, but I'm really feeling this kind of exciting, delightful energy inside myself because like I'm watching you give birth to a new baby again.
Right?
Yes,
Exactly.
yes.
And I remember walking into a library and my hometown librarian saying, would you like to carry my book?
Mhm.
And they're like, oh, do you have it in hard copy? So it sits on a shelf. And then
Mhm.
I noticed like all the children's books in the library, the picture books were hard copy. And I'm like, no, what did I do?
Yeah.
And so now to be able to watch the books sit on the shelf, be checked out. And not only that, I noticed it in teachers' classrooms too, that
Mhm.
they really like to have that book that sits on the shelf that can be checked out, and with guidance
Yes,
counselors that check this out to children who are going
yes.
through grief, for pastors that are
Mhm.
helping children that are going through grief. It's
Mhm.
just, it feels so stable. And it feels like it's ready for that courageous conversation with a child.
Exactly. Yes, it does. And because kids when they're holding books, I think it just feels better for them when they're holding a hardcover. Yeah. And
Right,
and and
absolutely.
the hardcover can also take
Yes,
more of
yes.
what more of what the child will offer it.
Let's just say when they choose it as a well-loved book,
Yeah.
it has the ability to be well loved.
Yes, absolutely. So I know we jumped right into the conversation, but what if somebody doesn't know who you are, Tammy? Why don't you tell us a
Oh,
little bit? Yeah,
sure.
let's
So
tell us a little bit about you and how you came to this. And yeah, let's start there.
absolutely. So yeah, so I'm Tammy Stuhr, and I currently, my life has called me to be the courage coach. And so I help people have courageous conversations, and courageous conversations with themselves, courageous conversations with God, and now, of course, courageous conversations with kids. And
Yes.
so by day, I run a company called Author My Day, a company inspiring courage.
Mhm.
And by evening and weekends, I am a wife to an amazing man who definitely has supported my dreams and this jump off of a cliff I took a couple of years ago from a really
Yeah.
steady, nice, stable income working for a university to time to be an entrepreneur.
Yeah.
And then I'm a mom to an amazing teacher, and I'm also a gammy to two beautiful grandchildren that just light up my world. And one of my most favorite memories, when it comes to my granddaughter, is we
Yeah.
were at a baby shower. So it's all girls, right? It's all women. And
Hmm.
it was one where you bring a book. And they asked my granddaughter, they asked everybody, what's your favorite book? And they asked her, she looks at him like, are you crazy? She goes, Jax Dreams of Heaven. And the whole room just erupted. And so to have my family as also my biggest cheerleaders, from my husband, the
Yeah.
oldest of them, to my granddaughter, the youngest of them, is just such a special feeling. And then I'm also a dog mom too, Jax.
Oh, that's
So
right.
Jax is a real dog. So yeah, so I've spent over 30 years volunteering in positive youth development, and I spent a 25-year career in positive youth development. And so I'm
Mm-hmm.
taking all of those skills of helping children through the tough times, the fun times, and putting them into books that help parents
Yes.
and grandparents go through these times with their children.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I really like that this is a children's book that helps folks to have courageous conversations. Yeah. And in this particular book, would you tell us what's the topic of this courageous conversation?
So in this book, Jax has a dream, or Jax finds out the adults are talking that grandma went to heaven when grandpa
Mm-hmm.
shows up without her. And he's trying to figure out, what is this heaven place? And so he has a dream that he goes to heaven to find grandma.
Mm-hmm.
And so the topic of the book is, it's a book of hope, as
Yes.
it says up here.
Yes.
And within that, all of my children's books have this final page where
Mm-hmm.
it talks about, dear adult, how do you have that courageous conversation about grief and death and that
Mm-hmm.
tough topic to
Yes.
address, and especially without scaring the child. And
Mm-hmm.
so it leaves them with hope. So
I like
that's
that.
a little bit about what the book is about. And of course, I chose a dog because when we have a child go through it, it's just way too scary. But everybody can relate to Jax going through the
Mm-hmm.
book,
Mm-hmm.
or going through the grief and the death cycle that
Yes.
we experience as humans. So that's a little bit about what the book is about. And he does it with his friends. He has all these friends show up in every book. So there's Lucky and Buffy and Betsy.
Uh-huh.
These were all rescue dogs that I've had in my life. And so they are all real dogs. So when I did my character sketches, I knew their personalities. And of course, they never met. They only ever had one dog at a time. But
Mm.
um, but yeah, it was a lot of fun to help me. And within all of this, I'm realizing that I may in my mind have wrote this for children, but in my heart, I think I wrote it for me. I
Yes.
think I wrote it for saying goodbye to these
Mm.
dogs that were just a beautiful part of our family during the time of when I had started the idea of putting this book together. My
Mm-hmm.
mother-in-law passed away,
Mm.
and this book ended up helping me be able to cope with my grief.
Yeah.
And so I'm going to show you this picture. It's just one of my most kind of that beautiful. There's
I
when
love
Jax and grandma find each other up in heaven.
that's
And this is what I need, right? I need to picture the ones that I love so much and I miss so much up
mm-hmm.
in heaven.
Mm-hmm.
And that's where it becomes the book of hope.
Yes. Yes, it really is. And I mean the pictures, the images in this book are so vibrant and alive, and knowing that, thinking about the fact that Jack's a real dog. Like, it's great we can make up stories about anything, but
Mhm.
Jack's really your real dog. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
he is.
Mm-hmm. And
You
the
were talking
story.
about the pictures. My illustrator is Cindy
Yeah.
Sarkady out of
Uh,
Wisconsin in the United States. And she did a phenomenal job. But
and
be, so many of these experiences in the book are based off of something that has happened to me.
mhm.
And so when it came to Jax getting up to the gates of heaven, um, these were yellow. And I kept saying,
Yeah.
no, they have to be gold. So she ended up ordering gold, like real gold, to put in the paint to make, or gold flecks to
Hmm.
make the golden gates.
That's
And
special.
And what she did for me is just the way she brought everything to life, and the
Yes.
little bones she has all the way across this
Hmm.
pathway of heaven. She just did a phenomenal job. But on this page,
Really? Yes.
when one thing that happened is when my stepsister passed away, I wasn't with her. She was in a whole different state. But
Hmm.
I was at the zoo with my family, and I had walked out of the restroom at that time. And I remember coming out on this path into the main part of the zoo, and I had this vision that it was my stepsister, probably around 10 years old, in this
Hmm.
white dress. And
Hmm.
she was walking up to the gates of heaven. And
Hmm.
her Nana came out of the gates of heaven and picked her up in this beautiful white gown and danced her into the gates of heaven.
And
And so that is why that image became crucial for me,
oh,
because I had these two things going on, like in this vision I had of the gates of heaven, like it needed to look
yes,
that way, right?
yes,
And then this
yes.
idea that your favorite person meets you at the gates of heaven.
Hmm. Hmm. Yes. And
And
so then the story, as kids are having that conversation, it's not so sad.
right,
It's not
right,
so sad at all
yeah,
because you're going to have this reunion at the gates of heaven.
right.
Yeah.
I had
Hmm.
a pastor tell me that they were working with a 6-year-old little boy who was just having a really, really tough time with losing a loved one.
Hmm.
And they really wouldn't talk about it, not to mom or dad or pastor or anybody. And he
Hmm.
finally is just like, "Can I read you this book?" And he pulls it off the shelf, and the little boy just opened up, right? Because if it's just death,
Yes,
that ends the conversation. But when we
exactly.
can bring hope into it, that opens up the whole possibility.
Yeah.
And I
And
think
Jack's
when
being present and Jack's in it.
you're right,
Yes.
the front page, before they even get to the first words,
Hmm. Yeah,
this
I can
front
see.
page is draw your picture of heaven. And because I want children, because they're going to have divine inspired thoughts,
Yes.
right?
Hmm. Hmm.
And they're closer to God than I am, right? Like I'm jaded. I go through life. I have all this stuff, right? That's happened.
All the stuff.
And so this has been a lot of fun. One little
Hmm.
boy, oh my gosh, sent me his picture. And it was all of these dinosaurs roaming and
Because
welcoming him into heaven.
he's
I was
creating his
just like,
own heaven.
just to have children imagine,
Yeah.
and then have a conversation with a caring adult about hope.
Yes. Yes. And I think though it's written for children, it's a children's book, but I also think that many adults will love having this book, reading this book, even though they're reading it to their child, they're reading it to themselves because
Yes.
death is one that is difficult for, I think, everyone,
Hmm.
you know, even
Yeah,
regardless of what our thoughts are about it, it it's seen as this final thing. So having a book like this that is light, has so much life and hope in it, I think will also help adults.
absolutely.
Mm.
Um, so my best friend from childhood, her mother passed away at the time that I was working on Jax Dreams of Heaven.
Mhm.
And the book arrived right after the funeral. And she said she cried all the way through it. And I'm like,
Mm.
that's one thing I think it really helps with. And my sister sends it to like every widow that loses her husband, and they
Mm.
read it to their grandchildren. And so they sit there and they have a way to grieve together.
Yes.
And
Yes.
it's just, yeah, it's amazed me how many times that people ask for Jack's Dreams of Heaven as a sympathy
Mm.
card.
As a
It's like,
sympathy card. Yes.
and so
It's a
yes,
great
it is
idea.
definitely for all ages.
Mhm.
And the fact that it can bring us together when grief can feel so alone. And like
Yes.
we're the only one going through it, even though we can watch other people, but they seem fine and I'm hurting. And so when we sit down and we read the book together, we all get to go through grief together. We
Yes.
all get to gain hope together.
Together. Yes.
We have support.
Yeah. Yeah, because it is true that even when families are grieving, and but each person sometimes think I'm feeling it more than that one, and they don't understand how I'm experiencing it. So I'm alone with it, you
Right.
know? Yeah.
Yeah.
And
Absolutely.
and death and dying is a natural part of our existence as human beings. So it's great to be able to have Jack's Dreams of Heaven to help us along the way. Yeah.
Yes.
You want to share a page, a few sentences from the, do you want to do that?
I would love to. I would love to. I'll kind of do a spoiler alert. This is towards the end, and Jax has just woke up from his dream. Jax climbed on Grandpa's shoulder and looked up at the clouds. Oh, you think she is up there? Grandpa asked. Jax filled Grandpa's face with puppy kisses. Even though they couldn't visit heaven, Jax's grandma was watching Grandpa and Jax too.
Yeah, that is sweet.
If you look here, there's the gates of heaven up in the clouds. And spoiler alert, cardinals are the cardinal is the big part. And there's the cardinal not only here, but over here. So yes.
It's really a beautiful book.
So today is launch day. Absolutely. And these are available through Amazon, is the place that you can go in and order your hardback, whether it's for your own bookshelf at home, for your local library, for your child's classroom, your guidance counselors to have this as a resource. Or even if you have a faith community, buying it for that bookshelf. So yes, today is launch day. So go on and get your hardcover of Jax Dreams of Heaven.
Jax Dreams of Heaven. I love that book. It's really beautiful. It's really beautiful.
One step forward and another back. I will never try to pull